things. We got a Love of the Star podcast Bobby and I are doing tonight. So if you are so inclined to want to get a question or two answered, make sure you tweet at Bobby Belt TX and then myself at Brian Broaddus, and we'll try and get that taken care of for you. You know, we could post that tomorrow.
Little mailbagging?
Yeah, little mailbagging.
Good customer service.
Yeah, unless you, like I say, if you'd like to get a question answered, we'll be happy
on
to
that
do.
big hunker of a podcast you got over there.
Yes, and I'm going to be on UK Cowboys tonight too.
Ooh, very
We're
nice.
doing stuff overseas after the show, doing some work with those
Hello.
fine folks. And then also too, I want to explain what my Gang of Seven, and I'm going to use one of my Gang of Seven guys here to talk about, because the Cowboys, Sean Harlow.
Now remind me, what is this Gang of Seven, Brian?
Gang of Seven is the
Huey, Dewey, what's that? Sleepy, Dopey.
Yeah,
What's the
there's
name of them?
a lot of dopies. A lot of dopies. Yeah.
Grumpy.
Grumpy. A lot of grumpies too. A lot of grumpies. But my Gang of Seven, if you're new to what we're doing around here, and you'll hear them during the football season too, that's my group of guys and gals that are player personnel directors, general managers, people that look at the tape. I focus so much on the Cowboys, but these guys and gals that I kind of talk to during the season, I call them a Gang of Seven. They're the ones watching the tape every day about these players. So I'll have scouting reports throughout. If the Cowboys make a move, get a guy, or or talking about a guy, I try and get the Gang of Seven to tell me. And I've asked about Harlow, who was a center guard. He was, like I said earlier, was asked to go back with the Giants. He said, no, I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I asked one of my guys, I said, what about Sean Harlow? I said, any good? And the guy says, not really. He's just a multi-positional backup is what he is.
He's been in the league 4 years. He is Pat's son, by the way.
Yeah.
And I believe he went to Oregon State. So he's
His
not
dad
exactly.
with USC. His dad was a first-round pick, I believe, with the Patriots.
So he's been
way
around
back
for a
in the
little
day.
bit.
Yeah.
But I do have a question for you, because you had the Giants sign Dennis Houston to their practice squad.
Right.
A little
Cowboys
gamesmanship.
now bring in Harlow. And you always hear about, hey, week one, that's their opponent. You know, how much of that is a thing in the NFL, or is it an overreaction to where you bring in a player from that team and maybe kind of pick their brain a little bit?
I don't think it's an overreaction at all. I think it's something that you can clearly, if the player, depending on the player, if the player's good enough to have an understanding, like a guy like Dennis Houston would be probably pretty good for the Giants, because what's the one thing that we always talked about with Houston? Always in the right spot, doesn't bust on routes. That's not the fastest guy, catches the ball well, but we always talk about him.
His understanding of the offense.
The offense.
Very aware player.
So yeah, that would help in that regard. I'm sure that Wink Martindale, Wink and those guys are watching all the tape. They've played the Cowboys before. Probably not, they new coordinator though. They could kind of look at that. And I don't think the Cowboys showed anything in the preseason that would let me to believe that the Giants are getting, and probably the same thing with the Giants to the Cowboys. But this is a guy that actually does have, pretty good understanding. He was on your practice squad too all last year as well. So he would have an understanding of personnel and checks and things like that. So in that regard, it would make a difference, I believe. So we'll see. Hopefully the Cowboys are better than the Giants. Okay, we've got some of the names. I've got 14 names, Cowboys practice squad. If we kind of go through them, and I don't want to give everybody make you think a bunch of crazy things or anything like that, make your head hurt when I start talking about names. But I kind of want, if you want to stop me and tell me if is this a guy that could actually help the team being on the practice squad? Sometimes I was always from the school of like, I know my guys. So I wasn't always interested in signing all my guys back. I was interested in going to get other teams' guys.
Yeah.
Because there's a reason why some of these guys you sign back, they can't play. They can't play. But you're bringing them back for maybe they practice. But I'd like to know, is there anybody on this list that you feel like can honestly, in a week 6, week 7, week 9, week 10, 11, whatever, could be called up and actually help your team?
Okay.
Help you win a game. Okay.
I'm up to it.
Are you up to it?
Mm-hmm.
The first one I'll start with, and again, I'm just going to go down the list of the names that are on. Jalen Moreno-Cropper, wide receiver.
No.
Anything you saw in training camp that would believe that he could help you?
It's a practice guy.
That's a practice guy. Okay. Malik Davis,
Yes.
Yes.
There's an injury, you can bring him up, and he can give you a little bit of production.
He could have a good game.
Yeah, I felt like that Malik Davis might be somebody that somebody else would look at, and as that third running back, second running back. But I'm surprised he got to the practice squad. Princeton Fant, the tight end.
I think more of a practice guy that they'll take into next year and might have a chance to make it.
Earl Bostic, the offensive tackle. I think he's got really good technique. I don't think he's very strong right now. I think in a pinch he could play, but I don't know how confident I would be. I think if he could play in the practice squad the whole year, I think he would be okay.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. Do they peak out on their strength?
I think that what happens is a guy like Earl Bostic might have trouble with strength or putting on strength. He's a long-limbed guy. It's hard to put on bulk when you're that long-limbed. So, but he's a really good foot athlete. I don't know about the strength. I don't see it all the time. Brock Hoffman. Okay, he could be the guy that could be the up and down, right? For he's going to be the backup center.
Could call him. He might be active week 1 as a game day backup.
Right. Tyrone Johnson, number 80.
He's got speed, and if there's injuries at wide receiver, I think that he's played in the league before. He's played with the Chargers in active games.
Right.
Him or Drummond?
Him.
I would rather Johnson over Drummond.
I feel like they both made some plays.
Yeah, they did. They both did. They both absolutely did. I think like if I had to play in a game, I'd play Johnson over him though.
Well, if he's got in-game experience,
no
question.
I just think that he is more of a polished player that way. Okay, CJ Goodwin is going to be on the. He's going to be the guy that you're going to yo-yo as a special teams guy. Again, the 3 guys. So we've seen him. Sheldrick Redwine, the cornerback.
That's a practice guy.
That's a practice guy.
Yeah.
Josh Butler,
I think, can play. I think he could get called up at some point and maybe give you a game or two.
Yeah, he was number 40 on your roster. I felt like there were some times in some of these games he showed up. If they were like late in the season, all of a sudden they're trying to kind of figure things out. Remember, they were struggling with all those.
Hell, he probably would have started for him last year in that situation.
Exactly. Sure. Malik Jefferson's the linebacker. I felt like Malik Jefferson's another day, another time. He doesn't do much for me. Right?
I agree with you. For whatever reason, they seem to like him, though.
All right, Durrell Johnson didn't show much coming out of Liberty. I thought he was going to be a much better player. Tyrus Wheat out of Mississippi State was another guy they signed. I didn't feel like that he had a great training camp at all. Again, more of a practice guy. And the last guy is Sean McEwen. Right?
Yeah.
Sean
McEwen can give you something.
Sean McEwen, if they have to. I don't know if they're going to use him initially. They'll probably go with the 3 tight ends, not go with a 4th one, see what happens with Hunter Lipke as that blocker guy.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to kind of keep Sean McEwen on ice, but he's a guy that could definitely help you. So far that's 13 of 16, or actually 14 of 16 guys. They got 2 more spots that they could fill here, and we'll hopefully get those pretty soon.